Alright, it's Henry again, and this is part 3 of my work in progress video on the 1 to 100 scale Virgo II. And let me tell you about my week. I haven't gotten very much done on Virgo. I've had a lot of distractions this week, to say the least. I had a little bit of a financial crisis last weekend and early this week. Student loans, pretty much. And for a while, I almost kind of got freaked out. I thought that I was actually going to have to give up Gunpla. I thought that the situation was that bad that I was going to have to sell off all my model kits. And it was... Anyway, but luckily, I'm happy to tell you that's not the case. I kind of sorted things out, looked at all my options, and I've got a plan where I can be fiscally responsible and still keep doing the Gunpla hobby and keep doing the Oz project. Let's see. I don't want to go into too much detail with it. I don't want to actually, explain my financial records on YouTube, but my Gunpla spending, I think, will be pretty limited from here on out. I think what I'm going to do is pretty much limit myself to just the materials needed for building kits, like paint, primer, putty, stuff like that, and just really kind of put a freeze on buying new kits for the time being. So all this is just in an effort to keep the bill collectors from calling me every 24 hours. So anyway, the good news is I'm not giving up Gunpla. Some of you were on my Twitter earlier this week. You probably got a little bit freaked out by some of the stuff I was saying, but like I said, everything is good. I have a plan that I think will work out just fine, that'll make the people who I owe money to happy, and I will be happy as well. And that took up pretty much all of my thoughts for the first half of the week, as well as that resin casting video that I made earlier. That took up some time as well. Another distraction from Virgo II. But in the last 2 or 3 days, actually 3 or 4 days, I have got some work on Virgo II done. So I am still going. I am still going with the Oz project. And I'm a little bit behind. I think I've lost about a week worth of productivity on Virgo II, but I think my goal of finishing by the end of September is pretty much not going to happen now. Now I'm looking at maybe the first week of October. So anyway, here's what I've gotten done this week. I started building the beam rifle, as you can see here. I took an old Master Grade GP01 beam rifle and chopped it up and have just modified it with plow plate. I'm going to try my best not to use any epoxy putty on this thing, but it's actually turning out really nicely so far, I think. Just gotta... Actually, don't have that much more to do to it. This old box right here is, I guess, the ammo pack. It's gonna go, like, right there. I gotta put that in place, and then just refine some more details. Here's the sight right here, or the beginnings of the sight, rather, and it's gonna be glued on right there onto the barrel. I'm gonna add an end to the barrel, and just, maybe scribe a few panel lines. Not too much work left to do on the beam rifle. It's probably 75% done. The beam cannon, I've taken the Virgo's beam cannon, chopped the handle off. It's down here. Kind of chopped off some resin back here in the end. And I've got to start plot plating and adding details to it, so it's in its beginning stages. Got a couple of beam sabers here. These are left over from an old Master Grade Gundam Alex. The blades, I actually think, are from my first 1 to 100 scale Tall Geese, the one that I ended up using parts for Virgo. Not a lot of people even realize that Virgo II has beam sabers. In fact, I wasn't even sure myself until I started the project and looked it up, because I don't think Virgo II even used beam sabers at all during the show, so I don't know, there might be like 1 or 2 little scenes of it using them, but anyway, it does have beam sabers. And the backpack unit, I've done a little bit of work on. I've done a lot of sanding, like I think 3 hours of sanding on the top, bottom, and sides of this thing to get it nice and smooth and get all the lines parallel and perpendicular and looking right. I had these details back here in putty last time, and I decided just to take those off. In fact, here they are over here. I just kind of pried them off with the X-Acto knife and then redid that in ply plate. I think that's going to look sharper and it's just going to work out better. I've sanded out the area here where the thrusters are going to go. Later on I'm going to make a little hatch that'll be able to open up and reveal those thrusters. And the beam rifle now fits very nicely up into the backpack unit. It's a little wobbly right now because there's nothing holding it in place, but I guess I'll figure out something to kind of keep it still in there so it doesn't just fall out. But it does fit in there pretty well, I think. And like I said, a lot of people last time suggested that I cut the backpack unit in half and recast it like that. But honestly, I don't think taking a large drill bit and just drilling this away is going to be all that difficult. Plus, if I cut this in half, I'm going to have to use a lot more silicone to recast it. So I think just economically and just the drilling is not going to be too difficult. I think I'm just going to do it the way I originally intended and plug that hole up and then drill a hole into the resin recast version. And this one that I reuse, I'll just take the plug out. I'll probably make it out of modeling clay or something. So that's where I'm at on Virgo II. Again, I know I didn't get much done this week, but I had my reasons. And hopefully this coming up week will be much more productive, since I've got my little financial situation under control, and I think I've gotten my head back in the game. Sometimes if you've got problems in real life, they kind of distract you and get you unmotivated, and you don't even feel like working on Gunpla or any other hobbies for that matter. But now that I've finally got all that situated, I think I've finally got my back into my Gunpla mindset. So I think I'm really ready to get cracking on this Virgo II, because I want this guy to be done as soon as possible. So that about does it for this work in progress video, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.